I did it. I turned an entire tall MILSBO into a living wall. This is my third time doing this project. I do have a playlist I will link down below if you would like to see the other ones that I've made. But in this video, I'm going to tell you about this IKEA greenhouse cabinet that I have converted into a living wall. It is not a paludarium, however, it is bioactive, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did it. I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it. And before we get into that, I wanna thank Mother so much for sponsoring this video. Mother Life makes full spectrum, replaceable, sustainably built grow lights that are perfect for your terrarium, paludarium, any kind of closed growing, and even open growing. I will get more to them later in the video, but if you are curious about what lights I am using, just know that they are from Mother. Thank you, Mother, so much for sponsoring this video. And let me tell you guys all about what I have done, because I ended the last video with the Rudsta, telling you that I probably wouldn't do another one of these for a while, but here I am, little over a month later, doing one that's twice as big. This project actually took me about 1/5 of the time it took me to do the Rudsta, and that's because I made a few changes. Number one, instead of looking to trade, I actually purchased my IKEA greenhouse cabinet. I paid $280 for a fully built IKEA greenhouse cabinet that also was complete already with other lights and 4 different waterproof USB fans. I haven't yet added the fans to either of my builds because so far I've noticed amazing growth without the fans. However, I'm pretty happy to have them. For a fully built tall MILSBO that was already put together, had lights and fans, $280, which is an absolutely incredible price. I got it from one of my local friends, Victoria. Thank you so much, Victoria, who also gave me a couple other plants and some pots as well. The next thing I needed to do was purchase all of these supplies. What my number one issue with the last 2 builds, because not only have I built a Rudsta, but I also scaped out a paludarium, which was, you know, already waterproofed and built and everything. I just scaped it. But my number one issue is that I ran out of foam, and like every supply that I needed, I ran out of when I was building the Rudsta and when I was building the paludarium. So I overbought what my need was for the products, because there's nothing more annoying than being so into the project and you're like so excited to keep going and then you run out of foam, or you run out of moss, or you run out of wire. I've run out of each of those 3 different things before. So this time I bought way too much stuff just to make sure that I wouldn't have to go back. My trick for doing this was I bought everything with a credit card. It is the only thing I actually currently have on my credit card. And what I'm going to do is take everything back to the store, return everything that I didn't use, and then right here, I will tell you guys right now exactly how much I paid for all of these supplies, not including the cabinet right here. And now, it's the full total for my entire build. This is how much it cost me to do this. Right now, I don't know what that total is. I'm assuming it's less than I anticipated. I think it'll probably end up being around $300, maybe towards the $400 mark, but I don't think it will be into the $400 mark. But I don't know yet. I have to do all that later. I'll fix it in post. I overbought on everything, and I was actually really happy that I did that, because once I located this, by posting about the fact that I wanted one for almost a week straight in my local group, I got my friend Victoria to sell me one of her extra ones. This was actually in her storage unit. They had to go get it out, so they weren't even using it. So I was like, yay, I can give this cabinet new life. I picked it up. I then went and picked up the supplies same day. And when I came home, I immediately laid the first layer of foam. I bought a different type of insulation spray foam this time. It's the same brand, but I bought the one that they sell at Home Depot specifically. It has a reusable lid that you pop into place instead of have to like cut a hole into it. I found that not only did it go on way faster, but also this specific one dried so fast. I was able to fully scape it and it dried within only a couple hours. I actually almost started like adding the moss and building it that night, but I was like, I don't want to rush it. I definitely want to film this during the day and maybe have a friend come over or something. something. So I decided to wait until the next day. After I scaped, I made sure that I only did a very light layer of foam on the back because the type of foam I used can expand up to 3 inches. The cool thing about the IKEA cabinet is it has corner pieces along all the sides that I think extend about to 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And so I tried very hard to keep all of the foam edges, like the highest it would get, within that little tiny range. And you actually can hardly see any of the foam on either side of the IKEA cabinet, which made me really happy because that was people's biggest complaint, is what if I don't want the foam on the side? So this time I really tried to go out of my way to make sure that I wasn't laying on everything too thick, that it would all be very good. And I think that also aided in it drying really fast because I wasn't just like laying all this foam on there and then waiting for it to dry for like 48 to 72 hours. After the first round of foam, when I was completely done, I actually decided this time to use cups. I used a variety of different plastic cups, even some of the insulation spray lids, and I placed it into the wet foam so that it would dry and bond so that we would have some different texture. What I did with the Redsta was I actually used cardboard, which I was concerned about the possibility of the cardboard melting, decaying, and molding over time. I don't know what's gonna happen with that yet, so stay tuned. With the Philodendron, I opted to actually not use anything underneath the foam to give it any kind of difference. I tried to just spray the foam, let it dry, spray it again, let it dry. That did not work, and it ended up being a massive foam mess, so I learned my lesson. Definitely use something plastic, just, you know, to make sure that everything is good, and also you're reusing your plastics. Make sure you're using something plastic to put into the foam. I made the cups kind of tilt a little bit outward. So if this is a cup on a flat table, I made sure it was coming off the back wall a little bit so that it would kind of hang forward instead of just being upright or coming straight out like that. Then I proceeded to do 3 additional layers of more insulation foam in order to keep the cups from looking like cups. I went around them a lot and tried to make everything look pretty even and nice. Ultimately, I think I was really happy with how this part came out. It was definitely the part I was most concerned about, and I was also really surprised with how fast everything dried. When I woke up the next morning, I did 1 more round of spray foam and then let it dry, and a couple hours later I started adding the moss. My friend Devin came over while I was doing this. I actually invited him over just to kind of hang out while I was doing it, but he's crafty and he was like, do you want help? And I was like, you want to help? Okay. And it actually only took us about 2.5 hours to lay the entire moss wall. Now I used 3 different types of moss. I reused some of the moss from my paludarium, which I actually completely deplanted. All of the plants that were in my paludarium that I scaped are now in here. And I took a lot of the moss as well because it was brand new moss like 2 weeks ago when I built it, and it's full of liquider and also soil. I made a dirty moss mix, so it's really, really good. I used it in there as well as some fresh sphagnum New Zealand brand moss, and I also used sheet moss that I bought from Lowe's. I do not recommend the sheet moss from Lowe's. Do not use it. Again, this was a learning experience for me. The sheet moss was about $4 per bag, and it wasn't that total expensive. I was really surprised actually at the total cost of how cheap all the moss was when I was done with it, just the sheet moss. However, the sheet mosses died. Yeah, that green color is absolutely not real. I don't even know if the moss is real. I'm scared now. That smells bad, and it dyed our fingers green when we were using it. It also ran down and kind of dyed some of the sphagnum moss green. So I already bought everything, so I decided to keep using it. It was too late by the time we realized that the green color wasn't real and that it was actually just dye. It looks super normal until you get it wet, and then it almost turns blue. So we were like, ooh, that's probably not the best. However, we decided to keep with it. We decided to make almost a Z-shaped pattern along the Redsta and then fill it in with sphagnum moss on the sides. I used as much sphagnum moss from the paludarium as I could without taking any off the wall itself. I only took some out of the basin. We did have to use the New Zealand sphagnum moss that I purchased. I was hoping not to because it was $18 a bale, and the bales that I'm used to buying are from Lowe's. They are $4.69. Nice. And they are the same exact quantity. It's a little bit less nice, a little less pillowy, but it works exactly for what you need it to. Like, you don't need to be spending $18 on moss, except for the fact that New Zealand moss is sustainably harvested, and I'm not exactly sure where the Lowe's moss does come from. So that is something to note. However, I was trying really hard to not have to use the New Zealand moss, but once we realized that the sheet moss was gross, I decided, you know what, I don't want to use any more sheet moss. So we just stopped using the sheet moss and we switched to sphagnum moss. Those are the 3 different types of mosses that I used while we were building it. We we were watering it down to make sure the moss was easier to place, and we used the same enamel wire pin method to place everything. I bought 5 different rolls of enamel wire pin. I bought the Ook brand. I don't really recommend it. Lowe's has a different brand. The Ook brand was $1 and I think 68 cents. However, the other brand from Lowe's unspooled a lot easier. Devin and I ended up having to like cut the Ook stuff like in half and then pull away. I don't know. It would have gone a lot better if I had just gone to Lowe's and bought the stuff there. So do keep that in mind. You can also order everything off of Amazon, but I don't like waiting for stuff to deliver. I want it now. So I just go and buy everything in person. One thing I did not do that I deeply regret, and I actually have to do, is I did not silicone seal the inside of this cabinet, which I regret so much, like so much, because when we were watering the cabinet, we didn't notice anything and the floor is completely fine. But when we stood it up, we realized that it was actually leaking from the back. Part of the reason why I decided not to seal this cabinet was I did not want to have to wait 24 hours for the silicone to dry and stop smelling so that I could continue working on the cabinet. So that was me kind of rushing things. However, the back of the wall just kind of still gets wet. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be buying some silicone. I don't have it yet because listen, the cabinet's fine right now. We're trying to do this as cheap as possible, okay? I don't want to go buy the silicone yet, but I'm going to be siliconing the entire bottom side, except for the doors, obviously, with silicone to make sure that none of the humidity is escaping down the sides. And I'm also going to be siliconing the 2 front corners on each side. So if the doors are here, the 2 leg pieces are here. I'm gonna be siliconing that as well, just to make sure no extra humidity is getting out. I also drilled a hole in the top for the cords. Well, Christopher drilled the hole because I just did not want to deal with that. We used a 2-inch hole cutter thing, but I really don't think you need more than 1 inch. We have so much space for the cords to get out, like way more than we need. So I really feel like if you wanted to do 1 inch, you totally could. After we stood the cabinet up, we really noticed exactly how much the green moss was dyeing everything, which was so annoying. But you know what, whatever, it was $4. It was what I could afford to do. So who cares? Now you're like probably, why Ashley? Why did you do this? Besides the fact that it looks cool, why did you want to do it? Well, I got a Lanamia and recently I've been getting more and more into larger plants. If you don't know what a Philodendron Lanamia is, it's a pretty large growing philodendron. I also got a Philodendron Emerald Queen, which is a variegated green emerald. If you know Strawberry Shake, Strawberry Shakes are variegated red emerald philodendrons. Emerald Queen is variegated green emerald philodendron. They're really hard to come by and I'm really excited to have one. It gets pretty big. It's a very large plant, and so between that and then the Lanamia and the fact that I want my Syngonium to trail and I kind of want to try to make my Ilsamanii big, I got a snowdrift from one of the people who sent me plants. Like, I wanted a bigger space and I was actually kind of running out of time because I got the Lanamia here and it was out for 3 days, and while it was totally fine, that plant really wants humidity. So I wanted a cabinet. Well, I needed a larger space to grow my plants where I don't have to worry about having to cut my plants. Additionally, I have more anthurium than I thought I did, and they have lately been getting extremely large. I hope that answers your question. I needed a space. I tried to do it as cheap as possible. The only reason I didn't try to trade for this, because I do absolutely think I could have traded for it, is the fact that I honestly don't want to trade any more of my plants right now. I have been going trade happy and I just did not want to cut anything else or trade anything else. I just want to enjoy the plants that I have. I feel really happy with the spot that I'm at, so yes. Normally when people sell fully built cabinets, they're selling them for about $390 to $450, so I felt pretty excited about this price. Now that the IKEA cabinet was upright, it was time to make sure we had pinned all the moss into place correctly. This is kind of the most anxious part for me because it's like you stand it up, you're pretty sure, you know, that you pinned all the moss in, but if you stand it up and then just a bunch of it falls down, it's just kind of sad, and then it's harder to put back on unless you wanted to lay it down again. Plus, I'm still sore from how much we moved the cabinet. Like, Devin and I had to move it like a lot. There's a lot of squatting, so you know, getting the burn, feeling the burn, but also feeling the burn. Anyways, now it's time to add the lights. to the IKEA cabinet. As you heard me say, the lights are from Mother. As soon as I knew pretty much last week that I was going to be doing this, because I had been tossing the idea around in my brain for I think about 2 weeks. I was talking to my Discord members about it, my real life plant friends about it. I was like, I really want to do this, but I don't know if I want to take on that challenge. Like, it's like twice as big as the Redsta, and the Redsta made me cry. So when it came to attaching the lights, that's the exact purpose. I actually drilled a hole in the top of the cabinet. I really wanted to make sure that I had a place for the lights to go out through the top that I could still keep all the humidity in the cabinet with. I had 2 lights originally on the top. I attached them with the little sticky pads that they give you for the wall mount. I reached out to Mother and I said, hey, I think I'm gonna be building another MILSBO. Do you wanna send lights and sponsor the video? And they said, they'll be there next week. And that was really sweet of them. So thank you so much, Mother. After using these lights, honestly, it's really hard for me to, specifically with terrarium lights, it's going to be pretty hard for me to want to work with another brand that is very specific to this kind of light. Just because now that I have used these lights, I am so partial and biased that they are so good. Like, I'm literally doing the sponsor for no money. I got the product and I believe in the product and I'm telling you about the product, and I really, really think it's worth your money. To be honest, I would have bought them. I would have had to buy them, yeah, if they didn't want to send them. So I wouldn't have bought something different. If you can afford to do these lights, they literally last forever. You can get refills for the tubes. They're full spectrum lights that aren't purple. The way that they make your plants look is just so good. And on top of that, instead of just being a bright direct light, they actually have a diffused panel over the light so that your plants are getting bright indirect light, which means that you can put your plants almost right up in front of the light bulb and they're going, well, the light tube, and they're not going to burn. I have done this. I know this from experience that you can do this. That's why people can plant them all the way up. It's very nice. Originally, I was only gonna have the 2 up top. These are the 2 16-inch lights that they sent me. I decided I was going to add the 3rd one as well. Let me show you what it looks like when you don't have the 3rd light. That's a pretty big difference, I think. For the 3rd light, I decided to use a 32-inch full spectrum Mother Grow light. I actually attached it with magnets to the side of the cabinet. You actually cannot see it. It just looks beautiful and, well, you can kind of see it. It's right here. It's right there. But you can barely see it. It's so nice. And unlike the other one, I don't really feel like it looks bad being on the outside. I feel like it kind of just blends in with the shelf. I really don't mind it. Plus, it's on magnets, so I can move it wherever I want. It's not permanent. And the magnets are thanks to Victoria, who left the extra strong magnets there. They were holding up the fans before, so. I added the lights and then fangirled because all of a sudden it looked real. It was ready for me to plant in, so we started planting. I pretty much knew that I wanted the Lanamia to go on the bottom. That's why I put such a big cup at the very bottom, and then I worked my anthuriums and everything in there, and I was just really, really excited. We just kind of went to town. We plugged things in everywhere. There was really not that much of a rhyme or reason as to where we were putting stuff because it's pretty hard to make this stuff look bad. I think the only deciding factor in where we put things was the fact that, like, we need to make sure that things aren't burning. We need to make sure that, you know, if we have something with a new leaf coming in. Anthurium are also especially susceptible to burn. I haven't had an anthurium this close to the lights before, so I wanted to kind of feel it out. Additionally, I can move the plants wherever I want later, so I kept everything in their plugs because everything was in a plug before, like a moss plug that I plugged into the moss, so you can pretty much just pull stuff out and move it anywhere. It's not disturbing the roots at all. It's just kind of like moving it somewhere else. If you're curious, yes, I am only using moss. I am literally only growing in moss, and then I water with liquid earth. That is how I keep the moss nutrated. It has a lot of nutrients in it, basically. Also weather stripped this cabinet at the very end. After I had completely planted it, I decided to do the weather stripping at the end, and I'll show you in more detail where exactly I put the weather stripping. Once it was time to start actually planting the cabinet, it went pretty fast. It was very fun. I didn't really have a general idea except for the fact that almost all of the cups and the pots I placed inside the cabinet when, like, you know, into the foam. I wanted them to be for my anthurium because my anthurium are getting pretty big. Don't want to have to cut them. I want them to, like, live their best large life. Plus the Lanamia is already very big. You can actually see it. It's this one right here. It's like the biggest thing in there. I needed them to be able to have their own space. So aside from those, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I also didn't know if at the time I was going to unplant my pallet paludarium. Remember, paludarium right now is an empty moss wall. It's literally just empty, and I will give you a full show of everything when we're done, because I'm sure you're probably like, why did you put that there? Where's your other stuff? Ashley, what is going on? Okay, we use a lot more sheet moss than I thought we did, but that's okay. I have 4 left, so I don't exactly also know how much I spent yet, because here's my thought process, okay? I was like, instead of buying everything, I'm just gonna put everything on my credit card, and then I'm gonna return everything that I don't use, and then when I pay off my card, because the only thing that's on it right now is plant stuff, then I'll know exactly how much I paid. I bought so much stuff because the last 2 times I did this, I didn't buy enough, and I absolutely hate having to stop in the middle of a project to go to the store. There's like nothing that bums me out more than that. So I bought more than enough, and it was good. The only problem, and the reason I had to use sheet moss this time, is I was going to by hand poke in all of the sphagnum moss, like individually, like I did with the Rudsta, just because I think it looks really nice, plus it comes back to life, so that's cool. However, there's literally no moss in town, like at all. There's none. So I had to buy the sheet moss because it's the only thing I was able to find. Then I went to a Petco because my friend, the Planted Prodigy, he's literally so famous on TikTok. I'm sure that you've seen him on TikTok, but I was on the call with him today, and he was like, you know, sometimes Petco has sphagnum moss. So I was like, well, there's nowhere else I can get it right now, so I might as well go check Petco. And Petco had 2 bales of New Zealand brand sphagnum moss, which normally I only buy the $4 bales from Lowe's, which are actually pretty nice, and you do get a good amount from it for the $4 you pay. The New Zealand moss is sustainably harvested. It's ultra clean, very pillowy, very nice. It was $18. I bought 2 of those. I also bought some isopods while I was there because I just wanted to put isopods in here. But yeah, so I drilled the hole in the top. I wish we drilled the hole before we built the moss back, but I was just so excited when I got the cabinet yesterday. I literally just picked this up yesterday, that I just wanted to start foaming it. So I started foaming it last night, and the foam that I bought this time dried way, way, way faster than the foam I bought last time. The last 2 times I bought a different kind. So I bought this brand, but I bought a different type. Buy this one. It literally dries in like an hour, and I only barely foamed the back. Like, there is so much space on my Rudsta and my paludarium. I foamed out like a ton, like a big section from the back. With this one, I mean, there's maybe like 2.5, maybe 3 inches of foam before the back. And it makes it nice because from the sides, it's not just these big mounds of foam. So definitely buy this one. It does say it's a Home Depot exclusive can, which is unfortunate because we don't like Home Depot, but it's cheap and affordable and accessible, and that's kind of like the most important part. I decided to add a light coming from the side. So I'm using Mother Grow lights. This video, by the way, I know you already know, but it's sponsored by Mother. I used the 32-inch grow light, which is along the side. You can't see it, and that's on purpose. It's really tucked in back here. Plus it's black, so it just kind of blends in. But I wanted to give some light from the side. So this is what it looks like with just the top ones, which is fine. When you turn it on, that just looks so much better. And so even during nighttime, it'll be getting like really good, I think, even light. I didn't put another one over here because it's gonna be getting the outside light. So yeah, I think that's everything. I did decide to deconstruct my other paludarium, like the actual paludarium, not the living walls, the IKEA cabinets, but the whatever company makes the paludariums. I feel like this is gonna keep in a lot of the humidity, especially after I silicone it. This is my first time doing it with someone else. I invited Devin to come over and hang out while I do it, but then he was like, do you want help? And I was like, I'm not gonna say no to help.
Maybe mention that, how you can see the foam in the back. It's glass.
Oh yeah, so unlike the Rudsta, which has a metal back, this has a glass back. So it's literally just a bunch of foam in the back. I'm pretty sure I'm going to either buy cork and super glue the cork to the back so that it kind of looks nice. But I'll probably honestly more likely just paint it. Whenever I feel like I can spend money on paint to go and just paint the back of a cabinet. It's facing nothing. No one's gonna be over there. I really don't care that much. Just like I don't care that you can see the foam from the sides. Some people care about that. I just don't. I just want my plants to be able to live in a really nice space, and you can tell it's nice and bright because the camera like is having a hard time reading it. So I'm very excited. I also opted to not use one of the trays, the shelves, as a tray for the bottom. I didn't do it on the Redsta. I was happy I didn't do it on the Redsta. I'm not gonna do it on this one, so. All right, so now the next step is to plant it, and I think I'll just like kind of film us doing it, and then I'll walk you through everything at the end and like give you a full tour. And then tomorrow when it's sunny, I'll show you what it looks like when it's actually sunny, because right now it's overcast, raining, kind of snowy also, and the sun's going down. So I can't think if there's anything else I'm like forgetting. Oh, for the actual cabinet, I actually did not trade for this cabinet. I tried to, but I actually paid $280 for a fully built one that I picked up from this gal's house, which in my opinion is a really good price, because sometimes people sell their fully built ones for like $400 or more. And I just decided, you know what? I really need one. I just got the Lanamia, and my friend Sydney traded me kind of a larger plant. My Pallitiflorum's getting pretty big. And the Redsta's really nice, but it's definitely not tall. And I just want a place where I can be able to grow plants that they can like get large in, and I don't need to worry about, you know, where I'm gonna keep them. So. So this is our cabinet. I'm first going to show you where I put all of the weather stripping. I put 2 strips right here. This is, I'm pretty sure, the 1/2 inch, it could even be a 1/4 inch stripping. And I put it all the way down this part right here. I also put it in between the door on the one side. I put it up here on the top like this all the way in on both sides. No stripping on this side because the other side will cover it. The reason I did it like this is that when you put it with a little bit of space in between the edge of the door, it will swing closed smoothly. However, it actually won't be enough to completely insulate. You can see there's like still a little gap right there. So what the other piece of insulation is for is that actually when this swings closed, it fuses with this so that it will form a full nice little space here to make sure that everything is completely good and sealed. I also have some on the floor. It's wet right now because of the fact that I just moistened everything, but other than that, it's good. These are the parts I need to silicone. You'll see there's these kind of little holes right there, as well as I'm just gonna do the cracks on the outside. That's what I really wish I had done, but let me give you the tour of every single plant that I have in here. So straight off the bat, we have our Philodendron Lanamia. This was my biggest reason for needing this because this guy needed somewhere to go. He's already started aiming towards our 32-inch mother grow light right there. And then down within him, I actually planted my Philodendron serpens. Here I have my Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic Blue I got from Dana. I have my Alocasia Adora Variegata, which is adorable, and then my Gloriosum. Here I have an Anthurium crystallinum hybrid. I don't know what it's hybridized with. And then this is Philodendron Fuzzy Petiole, all of this. Right here we have Begonia Burkillii, and we have another begonia down here, Red Planet. This guy's a little sad, but that's because he was used to growing down. So even though it looks like he's all wilty, that's actually just, he's having to grow a completely different direction than he was before. Here I have my Alocasia Frydek, and then I have 3 Homolomina aerobescens pink right here. One of them, though, you can't see. It's like kind of in there. Then I have my Begonia Cleopatra, one of my Burley Marks Fantasies. Over here I have a Pink Princess, which has some moss on top of it. This is where I put the isopods. All that moss right there is them. Then I have my Anthurium Magnificum right here. I'm pretty sure it could be something else. And then back here I actually have a silver sword. Right here hiding, I have my Alocasia Zebrina that is growing in, and that is everything kind of on this first bottom row, except for this Tetrasperma that's sitting right there. Then right here, I have Philodendron Small Silver, otherwise known as Philodendron species Ector glossus. This right here is crystallinum. I think it's crystallinum poppy, but I'm just not sure. Then we have a Philodendron Majestic Baby right there. Here we have my Philodendron Varicosum. This is Philodendron Snowdrift. It actually has 2 active growth points. One is right there, and the other one is on our other side or right there. This is a really cool begonia I don't remember the name of, but it's propping right there. And then I have another Cleopatra propping right there. Here, kind of hanging down, is actually a, I think, Nepenthes ventrata. I'm not totally sure exactly if that's the correct name. And then we have another Philodendron Majestic. Majestic is a cross between, I believe, a Soderoy and a Varicosum. Then we have a Philodendron Tricolor White Knight. Another small silver baby right there, and then another Burley Marks Fantasy. This is the top cut. It's already angling for the light very hard, like perfectly, and it's just like, it wants the sun, dude. I have another Anthurium. I don't know what my Anthurium are, okay? And I don't care. They're just all pretty. I'm pretty sure this is the Anthurium Forgetii Poppy hybrid. I'm pretty sure. Then I have a Philodendron Biliaceae right here, and some Ficus villosa cuttings right there. Here is my Anthurium Papillimanum. It actually has 2 plants growing off of it right now. One of them is right here. This is actually growing from a completely separate spot. I'm actually going to be separating this once this leaf hardens to give to Devin, and he is going to be trading me a variegated Frydek, so I'm very excited about that. But just take a look at this leaf for a second. They look so good when they come in, dude. This is a pure poppy. It is not hybridized with anything. It is an original seed. It was very expensive for me to get this last year. And then this is its other newest leaf that we are actually going to be keeping. And then here's my tag. It's from the original grower who got the berries and then sent them, so very excited. Right here we have a Philodendron Mame and then a Syngonium albopodophyllum who is unfurling a leaf. Then right here, I don't know what this is. It's very pretty though. And then another Syngonium albopodophyllum. This is another tiny Anthurium I have more Anthurium than I thought I did, you guys. And then coming over this way, we have another Ficus villosa that I put in here. A Begonia Jehoii, which is already angling downwards at that light. Oh my gosh, that's great. I literally put this in here and it was going upwards. And it's now literally growing upside down. Then we have another Syngonium Milk Confetti. I have 3 of these now. And then back here we actually have Syngonium albopodophyllum. No, Monstera albo standaleyana. They're like the same thing, right? Then right here we have what is, I'm pretty sure, Philodendron patricia. I cut this to sell and my friend, or maybe I traded. My friend Grace got it from me, and then it's giving me like 4 new growth points right now, which is pretty pog. I put my Hoya Sunrise up here, so now you're gonna kind of start seeing the Hoyas and orchids. Here is my Bapidap, my baby Philodendron adipopoense, and then here is the Ace of Spades. It looks so good. I love it. It literally was made for that spot, dude. Here's another leaf, and then this is the new leaf. I don't know why it's being problematic, but it is. We have an orchid right here. This is a Restrepia species, and then this is some real green living moss. That is not fake. That is fake. That is real. Then hiding over here, we have some Philodendron variegata, and they kind of just trail upwards. And hiding right here, we have an Epipremnum pinnatum albo. Here we have a Hoya clemensorium, which I have vining all around, and then another Monstera standaleyana albo. Here we have a Philodendron Dark Lord, and this is our Syngonium panda. Then we have more Hederaceums here, and that is a White Princess node. This is some begonia, I don't know. I found it. I actually was literally going through all the moss to make sure I didn't forget anything, and then I just found that. So I have no idea what that is. Here is my Strawberry Shake. I have multiples of these, but this is the one I put in this cabinet. Shed some of the light from it so you can really see it. Look at that. Oh, it's so good. It actually has 3 growth points, which is pretty fun. And here's the main leaf. This is my Hoya Dakey I just got. It looks so good, and then we're gonna turn it purple because the sun's stressing. Here is my Hoya Fitchii. It's already doing more growth and new leaves. This is my Hoya Bella LaBois, my Hoya Finlaysonii. I don't know what that Hoya is. This is Hoya Matilde Splash. More Philodendron Hederaceum. And another Hoya I don't know the name of. But that is actually everything that I have in the cabinet. I have everything in moss. There is nothing except for the Lanamia in anything that is not moss. And let me show you what it looks like when it's closed. So you have to close it because of this at the same time to make sure that it actually keeps the weather stripping in there. That's what it looks like. And it looks so good. Like, would you guys rather have a greenhouse or this? Are you kidding? And some greenhouses are more expensive than a MILSBO. So, yeah. Plus, you can see exactly how much glass there is on the side. I really tried to make sure that the sides were not getting any foam on them because I wanted it to look pretty good from all sides. Instead of people being like, doesn't the foam bother you? It's like, no, it doesn't. It's literally just here to help me keep the plants in. It's doing a job. Anyways, yeah, that's it. That's the thing, dude. Okay, so it has been... It's been a little over a week with the IKEA cabinet. Actually, I think it's been exactly a week with the IKEA cabinet. I'm gonna tell you, this was unplanned. Okay, I haven't posted in like a week or edited anything. Oh my God, my fiddle leaf fig is putting out new leaves. You guys. I also haven't like looked at my plants in a week. We all know this last week, for a lot of us, has been really stressful. I needed a break, not from posting. I'm not overworked. I am fine. I love my job. I love editing every single day. Emotionally, because of some stuff that's been happening in our country, I genuinely could not function. I've been so scared. I'm feeling better now, but I didn't plan this. I know a lot of people are like, I want to see an update in the video. And it's like, normally like, yes, okay, I'd love to give you an update in the same video that I'm posting, but I have to like post a lot. You know what I mean? So basically, you accidentally get this because of legislation that's being proposed. So if there's one good thing coming out of it, it's this. I'm gonna show you my cabinet after a week. I'm gonna tell you what you absolutely should not be doing under any circumstances, and just kind of show you everything. Number one, absolutely under no circumstance use the sheet moss that I used. It is dyed. I didn't really mind it until it literally molded like crazy. I have actually been having to treat mold in this brand new cabinet, which I did not deal with in this cabinet or this cabinet at all. No mold. Why? Why wasn't there mold? Because everything was organic. Everything was real, meant to be wet, meant to stay moist. But this weird sheet moss I bought is not organic. It's not normal. I don't know what it is. It's in there though. I can't take it out. So I've been treating it with, I actually tried to treat it with Captain Jack's. It was like long white stringy mold, like everywhere. Not on the plants, only on the sheet moss. And no, before you come in and tell me to add a fan, it's not because there's no fan. It's because it's inorganic material that was then dyed, and who knows what chemicals are on it. And then those dyes started to come off and mold. That is what has happened. It's better now. I've been treating it, thanks to my members, by using a, what's that called? Hydrogen peroxide and water, 3 parts to 1. I've sprayed it on now for, I think, 2 to 3 days in a row. I can't exactly remember. My plants are totally fine. Everything is great. There's no more mold so far. If it didn't go away, I would have had to actually take the sheet moss out, because sometimes mold can give your plants a bacterial infection that I'm not just about to deal with. So, yeah. Now that you know that, and I'll be saying it in the video, like, there is literally no circumstance on earth in which you should use this sheet moss, ever. Unless it's just for purely decoration outside of a humid environment. Okay, let me show you what I've done. So here is our cabinet. This is what it looks like, just like, you know, in its daily life. It just kind of sits there looking perfect. And normally it's a lot more humid. I also haven't siliconed it yet. I honestly haven't really left my house in the last like week. But here is what it looks like. You can see the moss is already really like brown, and on all these like little spots in here. Okay, it also smells less moldy. That was like the thing, was after 2 days, it just like started smelling so bad, and I was like, all right, I'm expecting the mold now. But you can see like all the moss that we used that was real like New Zealand moss was amazing. This is what the fake moss looks like. Like, that is not real. It kind of gets this weird chemically green color. Here's somewhere it's still a little colorful. But like literally all of this was molding, and it was so gross. It smelled so bad. It smells not as bad now, which means I think good things. I think it's getting better. All the plants are okay. I was literally so ready to take oh, I haven't even been looking at these. These are our new poppy leaves. Pure poppy. They look really good. I have been having to spray like a lot of the hydrogen peroxide water stuff in here. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're getting new leaves. I literally haven't checked in a week. I've been so scared of like, is everything gonna be okay? Is it not? Looks like everything is growing. This is new too, this little like growth tube right there. But yeah, this is after a week. Everything in here is doing pretty good. I have noticed new growth. This is new. I don't even know what that is, but it's new. This is real moss. This is actual alive moss. Nice. Nice. This is a new Varicosum leaf. But yeah, it was just really stressful because it was like, I literally just planted it and in 2 days it was molding, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So things are better now. It doesn't stay that moist. I think when I have more monies that I feel comfortable spending, I've already spent so much money on this month, I will go buy some more moss and then I'm going to put all that moss like over this green moss. I'm not gonna take it out because it's like pushed into the foam so tightly. I think it would like ruin the whole cabinet and I have to redo the whole thing. I was prepared to do that. But yeah, like, I don't know, here's everything. Here's our fry deck. We actually got a new leaf on this. We got 2 new leaves on this guy. I don't know if the isopods are okay. I did spray Captain Jack's because I got so scared. I haven't seen any dead bodies of isopods, which leads me to believe that they are in fact okay. Normally, like, when isopods die, you'll kind of like see their bodies everywhere, and I haven't seen any of that. Look at this fuzzy petiole leaf. Yeah, everything's doing good. We got 2 new Alocasia Adora leaves. New Serpent's leaf. Lanamia looks like it's kind of becoming pregnant, but not quite. Yeah, we got a lot of new stuff. Like, things are vibing. Everything is good. I'm just like so mad at that moss. It looks really good, you guys. Oh my god. I literally love it. I just sit and stare at it all the time. Oh, look at that. The White Princess is coming in. That's the one I got from that girl who sent me plants. I will say that the moss I bought it said New Zealand moss on it. But when I was going through it, it literally drew blood from me twice. So, okay, my nails look gross, right? But they're all long. I've been taking care of my nails, trying to grow them out naturally. This nail, when I was putting everything together, this one.
Oh, it looks great.
Ow, fuck me. Oh, I'm bleeding. I literally put my blood and sweat into this. I pushed the wire in and it literally like cut my nail off and made me bleed. And then as I was pushing the moss together to like make it moist, I cut my hand on this hand twice because there were spurs in the moss. It was so painful. It literally hurt so bad I wanted to cry, but Devin was there so I had to act cool. What is this? We got like an aerial root growing off of this Monstera standoliana. Building this was a lot more fun because I had a friend with me, but there were also like, I literally put my blood, sweat, and tears into it. It's kind of funny. I hope you guys like it. Someone wanted to see it from the side. Here's what it looks like from the side. There's not that much foam on the sides. If you really, really wanted to, you could really easily avoid getting any foam on the sides. I did not care that much. I felt like this was already way better than my other 2, so yeah, there's literally hardly any from that side. Yeah, it's literally like not even there. I definitely recommend the MILSBO. It is a lot more expensive. You need a lot more materials than the Rudsta. However, the Rudsta is smaller, so. Also, I am going to be filming an update soon. We have a lot of fun, little exciting updates happening in here. But yeah, that's not this video, so. That is it. That's like actually going to be the end of the MILSBO video. Thank you for being patient. If you did watch this video all the way through, please throw a like. Also, I decided to open up my Discord to to everyone. So if you've been wanting to join the Discord, there is now a link in all of my video descriptions at the top. You can join. You can still become a member. You will still get private Discord perks. There is an entire separate section within the Discord that is only for paying members. And as of right now, as of filming, the buy, sell, trade in the Discord is also only available for members. Being a member is only $5 a month, and it does help me make content full time. So it's really, really helpful. Thank you so much, Mother, for sponsoring this video and sending me the grow lights to do this project. And thank you so much to Kim Klinowski, Lauren Alexandra, and Botanicas for the extra and continued channel support from your membership. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next houseplant section. Goodbye.